Okay, so I decided last minute to make this video. It may only have one camera on it because I can edit it faster, and we are 2 days away from the election. The presidential election in the US is obviously one of the most hot topics right now, and a few conversations and things that I heard today just spurred me to maybe talk about this issue and maybe some other issues. This will be rambling off the cuff for sure. So sit back. If you're not into that, you may want to leave now. The issue of voting and the punk rock and hardcore scene has always been long, highly debated within that realm. Taking part in the system, etc., has always been a hot topic and highly, highly controversial. It's something that I've had millions of discussions with people on, and more times than I can remember. It's something that I always think about a lot. So in America, we have a two-party system that we're really stuck with. It's really not representative of the people, if you ask me. It's representative of corporations and RNC and DNC making money and them picking the candidate for us. We can have all the primaries we want, but in the long run, they pick who's going to be up there and who's more than likely going to keep lining their pockets, as long as they line lobbyist pockets as well, who fund things like the DNC and campaigns, etc. So yeah, the two-party system is just kind of a joke, but here's the problem. It's what we have, and we're given not very much choice in this country, but we do have a small choice. Even with the Electoral College, especially here in a place like Arizona, that's a swing state. It counts, it matters. And as someone who's a straight white male, I mean, it doesn't hurt me as much as somebody else, but I have to think about the fact that me not casting a vote can hurt people that aren't like me and that don't have the advantages that I do. That people that are of color, LGBTQ people, women, people with disabilities, et cetera, can all be affected by me not casting a vote for someone that in a small way could help them or even, stop discrimination against them in some way. So to me, it's always felt important to vote. When I was younger, I always, voted Green Party or some third party candidate because I really wanted to change that two-party system. And I still really would like to, but it just doesn't seem to help doing that in any way. So we're kind of stuck in a rut here. And I think that not voting can really hurt people. And we saw in 2016 when people like me held our nose and vote for Hillary, and a lot of people didn't vote for her, that it screwed up the Electoral College, and a guy who didn't even win the popular vote won. And he made a lot of crazy changes in things like the Supreme Court that have now affected women's rights in an extreme fashion, to where women are dying in hospitals because they can't get the care that they need. So the thing that I've always thought about is that if I don't vote, and my small vote could be the losing vote in an election that can help save some woman's life or help change an unfair law for people of color or anything in that matter, that it's just not right of me to sit it out because I'm too punk rock to take part in the system. Don't get me wrong, the system is heavily flawed. Both candidates are right wing, despite all the propaganda out there calling Kamala Harris a socialist, and et cetera, et cetera. She's a prosecutor, a DA. She's put a lot of people away that probably wrongly deserve to be, or were just trying to find a way to survive. And I don't think that's right. And she's always been a high proponent of, border legislation that is just kind of crazy and inhumane, if you ask me. She's also complicit in the war in Israel and Gaza right now. But if you think Trump's not going to be, then you're fooling yourself, because he said that Netanyahu should have free reign to do whatever he wants. So if you think it's extremely bad right now, which it's terrible, it's going to be worse under him. There will be nothing stopping Netanyahu from completely taking over Gaza and doing whatever he wants to the people there. So, of course, punk rock has always been a left-leaning or extremely left group of people over the years. And, of course, there's another facet to that where there's scenes and pockets where there's guys that are more right-leaning in places like, the New York tough guy hardcore scene. And especially as people in these scenes get older, I've seen a lot of people saying things like Trump is punk rock and being conservative is the new punk rock, which is a freaking joke. But punk rock has always been a place of acceptance and tolerance that I've seen. So for me, it was very comfortable because I felt I could be who I was, and it taught me a lot about other people and who they were and accepting them as they were, kind of come as you are type thing. So I think it's important that we as punk rockers do take part in the system and cast a vote, and you got to think about all the local laws that are on those ballots too. Here in Arizona, there's an extreme abortion ban, that's on the ballot right now. And they almost completely banned it recently, and there's already some major restrictions. So it's really important for us to take part in that. Even if you don't want to take part in the presidential race, you got to just check that box for that. If that alone, even, I just think it's so important that we as punk rockers do the little thing that we can from our couch to try and help people that aren't like us, and have empathy and compassion for people that aren't as fortunate as us, and the people that are our friends and basically family within the punk rock scene. We always embrace people that are different. And my mom raised me trying to show me that there's a lot of different people in the world and to embrace them. There's a big push to have theocracy through the Republican Party too, which is really crazy because it's a party full of people that are immoral in every way, if you ask me. So if we can counter their morals in a little small fashion, I think it's worth holding your nose and doing it. I'm sure I'll get highly criticized for this thought by many, but I just think it's important. And there's a lot of other issues like healthcare that can really be affected by the wrong person getting in office and making terrible changes. So the Supreme Court also is, a majority group that wants theocracy. And I just think that religion, especially in 2024, should not be governing our lives. It hasn't here for the last 200 years, so why should it start now? I think we, as punk rockers, need to step out of our comfort zone and try and make change. Even if you don't want to vote, go volunteer for Food Not Bombs. Go, feed at a homeless shelter. Go help some refugees. Do something for people in need. Or even just go speak your mind at a protest. I think it's really important for us to do. So I'm going to keep it short. Election is on Tuesday, and it's kind of a scary time, but we'll see what happens. If you feel that you think you can help make a change with it, I think it's worth checking that little box, or even making the trip down to go check that little box. You have every right to your opinion not to do it if you don't want to also. It's a controversial subject, and I'm not here to force anyone to do anything, but if I can maybe make somebody feel some empathy towards others that are less fortunate than them, and maybe help them in some way by casting a vote, then I think it's worth my time doing this. Tuesday's your last chance to affect that change, and it's up to you whether you decide to do that or not. But hopefully, I at least put some ideas in your head of what could and couldn't be if you do or don't.